Hello, Peter.
How you doing?
I am doing grand, thank you. Yourself?
I'm very well, very well. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen out there. I'm Peter Wood up in Shetland, and that's Davie Hunter in Dundee. And we're here for the next couple of hours with you, with a couple of great guests tonight.
But yeah.
Um,
It'll fly by with these guests.
It's going to be fantastic. Two Alies, two Alasdair, and an Ali.
Well,
We've got
yes, it's an Alasdair and an Alexander.
Oh, is it indeed?
It's an Alexander, yeah.
Well, we've got Ali Levack coming on first. And then our second guest tonight is Alasdair White. And Alasdair's over in New York. Ali's
New York.
in Northwest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there we go. We can't do better for you than that. So, good evening, all you folks out there. Good evening, Sheila Ben. Good evening, David Bothwick. Good evening, Ina. Good evening, Jamie. Everybody's joining in. Great numbers coming in, folks. Please remember to share the show. Hit the share button.
Mm-hmm.
We're on Tunes in the House. We're on Tapping Tunes. We're on Peter Wood Music. What else are we on?
YouTube,
Twitter, Tapping Tunes. That's the place to be. There's Dick Hamilton. We've seen Dick for a wee while. Hope you're doing fine out there. So, keep the messages coming in, folks. Let us know where you are. We love hearing whereabouts you are. It always lets us get what's going on and how you're getting on in the world out there. It's always really nice. Things seem to be starting to open up a wee bit. We've been talking about that earlier, that there's some wee bits of live gigs coming back in again. But I think we're going to see a crossover now, Davey. I think we're going to see internet and live. I don't think the internet, what it's done in the last year and a half, I don't think it's going to disappear now either.
I think that we're going to get a big mixture. We're going to get bits where you'll have like live teaching, like fiddle schools, but they'll stream it at the same time to folk abroad, so you can see what's happening and play at the house and all that sort of stuff. They did that with Piping Hot Summer Drummer last year in Canada, and that I believe that worked quite well. But the only problem you have is that it's during the day there, but it's like 10 o'clock at night across this side, and things like that. That's a big issue. Yeah, but
hit that share button for us. Hit that share button. Share this amazing amount of music and crack that you're going to get tonight. Davey, what have you been up to today? When I told you were playing a wedding.
That's the first wedding I've played at. I was going to say as a married man, but that's not hard. It's only been 3 weeks. First wedding I've played at since COVID.
You know,
I've done funerals, but I've never done a wedding.
I've never heard of a wedding in Shetland on a Sunday. Never ever heard of that.
There's weddings every day at the moment in the mainland, because they're folks that have had their weddings and they couldn't get it booked and had to wait 2 years for the weekend and all that sort of stuff, so they're just going any day now.
Great stuff. Brilliant. So I messaged you and said, right, mister, since you've got the kit on, getting a couple of sets done, I've got a set of tunes in the pipes, which you did, and then you sent it to me and I put some videos on for you.
Which makes it better.
The videos I put on today, I was away a run up the east side of Shetland mainland today, and we were at Luna, a place called Luna. It's Luna, not like the Doug, it's just a single line. Our Doug.
You need to watch what you're saying, because the Doug might come through.
Yeah, I know, it'll arrive at some point. And Luna, of course, was the base in World War II it was the original base for the Shetland bus, which was the boats that went back and forward to occupied Norway and smuggled stuff in and out, including people and all sorts of bits and pieces. So it's a lovely place, and there's a kirk up there, Luna Kirk, that's a really bonny place as well. So, and I actually think the two tunes you played went quite well with the scenery and everything. So it's quite cool. So, what are the two tunes?
If I remember rightly, I think they were the Cleansing of George's Cowshed.
Oh, excellent. The Mucking of Geordies.
And I think it was Bonnie Dundee after that.
I think you did. You've done Bonnie Dundee.
I don't know. Because what was funny, I nipped up to see Ali Meek at his workshop, when I got the text and he says, "Oh, bring your pipes and let's see how it sounds in the workshop." And I'm like, okay. I said, "Well, Peter's wanted to do a video anyway, so I'll shoot it for you. I'll shoot it for you." So it was literally the first thing that came to my head was that I'm like, do I know this full tune or do I not know it?
Yeah, mate. Hold on. What does that mean? What does David Bothwick mean? I hope you're not on drugs. What does that mean?
Don't know.
Drugs.
Don't know.
I've missed something.
Maybe you went for a run.
Hope you're not on drugs. I'm not sure. Right. Anyway, right.
Yeah. So the cleansing of George's Cowshed and Bonnie Dundee. I apologise now for the flashing lights, but we got strobe lighting.
I thought you'd just gone all modern on us. Yeah. Watch out for the strobe effect here.
Yeah. Right. On you go.
Click the button.
Oh, I've got to click the button. I've got to do that as well. Okay, where's the button? Here we go. I've got it here. Here we go. Oh, I didn't. This is why I didn't watch the video earlier on. I really should have.
I thought Ali Meek deserved a wee bit of kind of publicity there and a sponsorship deal. Sponsored by Ali Meek Joiners. I've not heard of a pipe band sponsored by a Joiners before, right enough.
Yeah, well, that's because Joiners don't have any money.
Yeah.
Cheers, Mary. Yeah, no, it was. Yeah, go for it.
I've got a wee set of 3/4 pipe marches for you tonight. Lock Inside, which is a tune you hear loads and loads all the time, but it is an amazing tune. It's got
three parts.
Yeah, it has got an amazing melody, and it's 3 old ones actually. And I'm doing Collins Cattle, the Cattle, and Land of My Youth, or some people call it Icy Mull.
Icy Mull. That was the first tune I learnt on the pipes.
Why has it got 2 names? Have we ever found that out yet?
I think from the version I had was Icy Mull brackets Land of My Youth.
Ah, right, okay.
So I'm going to assume it'll probably be a song somewhere, and that'll be the lyrics.
So I've stuck on this, and I've stuck some videos on. There's some wee footage tonight. There's some pipey footage, the pipe bands that I was on since it's.
Did you find them, did you?
A couple of the old ones for Stromness Band, and when I was pipe major, a lyric band at one point as well. So I stuck them on just for a laugh to show you that I did at one point in here. All my hair was brown, not just that stripe.
Like a badger.
Like the badger. So here's a wee set of 3/4 matches. Are you clicking? Am I clicking?
You go for it. You're closer.
I'll click. There you go. So enjoy. Of course, Andy Stewart puts words to Lock Inside as well and made it famous.
Was it Andy Stewart?
Well, yeah, he had words to it anyway.
I thought it was your man. We had his daughter on when I was on as a guest.
Well, Jim
Malcolm. Yeah.
Jim Malcolm. Well, Jim has words to it too. Different words.
Oh, okay.
I think there was the kind of 2 lots of words. Here we go. We could. They're great tunes, aren't they?
You've said it before that 3/4s aren't played enough on accordions.
Well, they aren't. And well, you see, the problem I think being is that an awful lot of the time accordion players are playing for dancing.
Yeah.
And there's no dances that fit 3/4s.
Did you speak to somebody at the Scottish County Dance Society?
Yeah, we really need a good 3/4 dance. Good. Right, there's loads of comments going on here tonight, David. It's brilliant.
It's busy. It's busy.
Did you put any up there for a wee while?
Yeah, I got down to 8:14.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, right. I'm on it. I'm on the case now.
Yep. So yeah, it's cracking playing again. I think it's time to introduce our first guest of the evening.
Oh, there's Don Scobie that we had on the other night. Remember him?
Aye.
On with his book.
Book, yep. So our first guest tonight is the piper and whistle player, who looks like he's really nervous actually.
Does he?
Yeah, he looks really nervous. Yeah, he looks really nervous.
I hope you've got some awkward questions for him.
I've been working them all day. You know, when I was playing through my my MSR earlier on, I was thinking of what questions to ask Ali. So,
brilliant! How quick a degradation note really should be followed by a knee?
Yeah, exactly like that.
Great
but here we
question.
go. Here is the infamous 2020 Young Trad winner, Mr. Ali Levack. Ali, good evening.
Yo, how's it going?
I'm doing good, man. Yeah. How's things?
Good, yeah. I'm just in Uist just now. I'm not actually from North Uist, but I'm in North Uist just now. It's my bandmate and good friend Pablo Lafuente, who plays with me in Project Smock. His wedding is tomorrow in Carnish, so I've been here for the past couple of days. This is my auntie's house, so I've loads of family over here. So yeah, just here for the week and then back on Wednesday.
The wedding's tomorrow.
Yeah. See, Monday wedding, told you.
Yeah.
I've just been saying to Davey, I've never heard of a Sunday wedding in Shetland, but I've never heard of a Monday wedding.
I know. Well, as Dave was saying, it's like everyone's taking them whenever they can get them just now.
Yeah. In the olden days, the weddings in Shetland used to be on a Thursday in the islands, especially because that was the day that the boat went round the islands in the old days. It was kind of tradition and stuff. And it meant they could have a wedding for 3 days.
Yeah.
You could have a Thursday night, a Friday night, and then you had to finish early on a Saturday night because it was the Sabbath. But by that time, people were pretty had it anyway.
Yeah, that's probably true. So, Ali, how long has it you've been playing pipes now?
So I started getting chanter lessons probably at the age of 9. And my grandfather, on my mother's side, he played pipes and fiddle as well. He's from Harris, and then kind of was mad keen to get me to do it as well. And then my first tutor was a guy called Benny Manson from Stratty, but he lived in Dingwall. And I went through between the ages of sort of like 9 till 14. I went through a good few tutors with my grandpa. They were always kind of teaching me stuff, and they're like, "This is what I'll teach you." But it was good. Paul taught me for a bit and the basics, and then he put me on to Paul Harrison.
Right. Okay.
Well, that's good. It's in a positive vein. Then I thought when you
through
a number of tutors that people were just right. I've had enough of this guy.
I realised when I said that, I was like,
Tell me, was Paul Harrison not the pipe major in Bewley?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he lived in Maryborough, the same village.
I met him many years ago. Yeah,
really nice guy. And then he fell ill actually. He wasn't well for a long time, but then just along the road in Dingwall was Trevor Deere. And then what happened? And then
I think Trevor taught one of the photos I had in my thing there tonight with the video was the four of you standing. There was a chap, Mark Weems, standing the piper. And I'm sure Mark was taught by Trevor.
Really? Yeah. He was a great tutor. Brilliant. Really liked this. And then Face Ross and stuff in Dingwall kind of helped with that. And they used to have master classes up in Strathclyde. So John Burgess and Norman Gillis would be up there. So I'd go with that. And then I was going to John's house in Saltburn in Invergordon. That was good. And then he sadly passed away, and then kind of opened up and then at the age of 14, it was just piping, just purely piping, competition solos. I never done the bands, but like we do the games and stuff and solos, and then Ian McFadden was my tutor, and then I'd go up to Kyle every week, and then he said, just try and get into Plockton. But then I'll see you once a week, and we'll be doing the drive. And I said, oh, that's great. And then I don't know, there's such a different crack in for the music in Easter Ross compared to Wester Ross. Wester Ross, I feel the trad music it breathes a lot more, but then in Easter Ross, there's not as many folk doing it in Inverness and stuff, and more folk listen to like mainstream music, which is nothing wrong, but traditional music.
No, of course. Yeah. And you said there you went to Plockton. How old were you when you started going to Plockton?
Probably 14. So I was in Dingwall for 2 years, but and then it was Ian who suggested it, and I was like, I hated Dingwall. I was like, I'd go to Beirut. I'd go anywhere. Just get me out of here. So I went to Plockton when I was about 14. Started third year, and I was there for 4 years. So
for those that don't know anything about Plockton, do you want to tell us a bit about how it works and all that?
Yeah, so it's like Plockton Music School, I would call it, or the NCETM, National Centre for Excellence in Traditional Music is what it's actually called.
School of Excellence. There's only about 3 of them in Scotland, I think, isn't there?
Yeah, there's one in Dice and somewhere else. Edinburgh, I think. Is that?
Edinburgh School, yeah.
Yeah, that was great. I loved it. You'd have your normal school as well. So like Plockton High School, great school. It was like I think the famous Gaelic poet Sorley MacLean used to be the headmaster.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it was Duncan Ferguson when I was there, and so the school is that you do your normal schooling, and then it was right next to the hostel, and that's where all the music school students and all the students from Applecross would live, because it was just too far for them. So we'd bunk there for the week, and then home at the weekend. And after normal school, you'd have it was like regime. I loved it. It was so institutionalized, but it was like timed all the way till bedtime, and you'd have music school after school and stuff. It was great.
Well, there wasn't just really an awful lot of nightclubs and that in Plockton.
No, the hostel was a bit of a nightclub. There was some mayhem. I
remember there was a fellow I knew up there for many years, Edmund Mackenzie. He used to be the postmaster. He was blind, Edmund, and he was an amazing guy. He met you once, and he could remember your voice and knew who you were.
Wow.
And but Edmund, I remember the bands used to go up and play for the Plockton Regatta and things. I think that was quite an event.
That's a boat event, that, isn't it?
Yes. I think it was. I think it was supposed to be a boat event. I think there was probably quite a lot of alcohol involved.
Yeah. It's a great place. Like, I couldn't believe it. Like going there and then, I don't know. It was like being on a 4-year holiday, and then actually did boat in 6th year, like building rowboats as part of the.
Because Ross Cooper from up here, the fiddle player, Ross went to Plockton as well.
Yeah, I know Ross well. He's a good crack.
Yeah, he went there, and then he headed up to Newcastle.
We had a previous guest, Suzanne Fivey, went to Plockton as well.
Goodness me, yeah, did she?
Suzanne just left, as I was going in.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Yeah. So, is that why you started playing the whistle then? Was it?
Yeah. So I went just playing pipes, and then you had to play a second instrument. So then I was like, I'll take whistle because it's as close to piping as I can think. So
or so you thought.
Yeah. And then that was totally different. But yeah, Hamish Napier started giving me lessons in that as well, and I had Ian McFadden every week as well, which was great. So, it was good.
Are we going to have a wee bit of music here for the viewers? And I've got this lined up, Davie, so we're all right.
So you're speaking you're speaking about Pablo Lafuente and your band called Project Smock with him and
Ewan Baird, who also plays with the Paul McKenna band as well.
Ah, okay, yeah. So we've got a track from there. Want to tell us about this track?
Yeah. What? Oh,
it's Wee Smoky.
Yeah. So I actually wrote this tune last year in 2020, and as a means to kind of build funds for the band, I thought, how can we generate some income? And so I didn't have a title for the tune or the track, and I auctioned off the naming rights.
Okay. Yeah.
So the guy who won the auction is a guy called Rory Gamble, who owns a Wee Smoky whiskey company. And that's we've collaborated with him now, and we have Project Smoke have their own whiskey now as well. So this is the track. He named the track after the whiskey, so it's Wee Smoky.
Magic.
Cool.
Here we go. Brilliant. Fantastic.
That's brilliant. That is
Fantastic.
brilliant.
Yeah, really good.
The video for that was kind of just I've seen a few like folk pop bands who just put videos of like crack from tour and stuff like that, and yeah, just what we video of each other on tour and stuff, and it was easy enough to kind of put together for the music video.
The B-roll stuff.
Yeah, totally. Things, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
there's
Rab, yeah.
Yeah. It's good to see him.
So here we go. So, Project Smoke. How long has Project Smoke been going on now?
Yeah, Project Smoke's been on the go since 2017. We started. I was actually working in Hardy's bagpipes for all of 2017, and it was myself. And I had a folk club gig in Glasgow and got Pablo to come along and play. And it was only after we were like, "Oh, let's record." Around July, August time, and then we did a first EP with Martin O'Neill actually playing Bowden on it. And Ewan wasn't in Project Smoke from the start, and then that was Horizons was the name of that. We recorded it with Scott Wood, and then it was then after that, shortly after that, Ewan came on board just with Martin. Kind of assumed Martin would be so busy, and
Yeah, of course.
being a new band, you kind of have to go through the ranks and do gigs, smaller gigs, and Martin, like, he'd done gigs with Stevie Wonder, so we were like, well, Martin's unbelievable, like, and Ewan's great as well. It's great. It's just because he's like it's just like a band of best mates sort of thing as well.
Yeah. So, have you done much recording with Project Smog? You've done, is it 2 albums you've done?
So that first one we done was Horizons, just like a wee EP. And then we did a few singles, and then was our first album. We did our first album in 2019.
Okay.
Just in the tail end, sort of after the summer. And I know distantly related Edwin Collins, the pop singer, sung that song, Never Met a Girl Like You Before. And I kind of kept in touch with him since about 2010. And he had a recording studio down in London.
Okay.
But he moved it all up to Helmsdale, where he's from, and where my family are from as well. So him and his wife, Grace Maxwell, were like, just come up to Helmsdale and record for nothing. Use the studio at your own leisure. And it's all analog and vintage gear. Like the desk is a 1969 Neve desk. It's just like crazy astronomical prices for that kind of stuff. So, but like to be given that kind of for nothing.
That's really strange. That's really strange you say that. I saw the same one of these desks the other day up in the island of Unst, right up at the very top. In Shetland, there's a guy called Dave Sinton, and he used to do all the sound and recording for the Corries. He's got all this gear up there, and he's got all the Corries instruments as well. He's got them all, and they're all in store up in Unst. Cool.
Neve desk, Neve's a very high-end analog kit, like so.
Amazing. So you've done, is it 2 albums you've done now with Project Smog, or is that just 1?
That was just the main kind of feature album. And then we did like another EP. We've done 2 EPs.
Right. Okay.
The newest one is an EP that we put out just at the start of this year, and it's called Esperanza, which means hope in Spanish. 3 guesses as to which one of the band members is from Spain. Ali, Pablo, or Ewan.
It's Ewan, isn't it?
On that topic, where does your surname originate from, Levack?
I get that. I get this a lot. I remember doing a piping competition in Fort William, and it was. I remember it so clearly. And I've spoken to Dr. Angus about it, but he was judging, and he's like, I was just walked up to the desk and I was about to play, and he's like, Levack. What name is that? And he said, is it Polish? And I said, no. He was like, you look Polish.
Great, thanks.
But it's from Caithness.
Oh, right.
Yeah, in the North Front. It's sort of, my dad's gone into this because he's had it his whole life as well. And I think you can trace it back to like 1400s Caithness. It used to be Levack and Levack. And then there's a lot of them still up there. Levacks, and there's like a Levack in Canada as well, a place. So it's like a few sort of pushed out from the clearances. Yeah,
fantastic.
Pushed out. Yeah, that's what we call it.
I didn't want to move over. I was like, what?
That's cleared that up. Nationally.
Yeah. So you've been, with Project Smart, you've been doing pretty well. You've got, like as Big Rab said, you've got a gig on the Saturday of Piping Live?
Sunday.
The Sunday Piping Live, so that's the 15th. So if you've not got tickets to that, then you can watch the show.
Sunday the 15th, we're playing with Hecla.
Hecla, yeah, that's Ailish Sutherland.
Yeah, they're a great band.
Yeah. Well, I wrote a tune for Ailish once.
You did?
Oh,
you've got a book out, Peter.
I've got a book. I've got an Ailish was. I used to stay in a flat with her father.
All right.
About 30 years ago in Edinburgh, and then I went back to uni and studied the
accordion.
Was the applied music course with the UHI? I done that one. And Ailish was joined 2 or 3 years after I did, but I had to go and do a recital in Stornoway at the end of it, and I was needing some small pipes in the middle of it for a bit, and she played it, so I wrote her a wee reel. and it's in the book. Did I tell you that, Davey? I've got a book out.
You've got a book out. How many books have you got out, Peter?
I've got 2 books out, actually, Davey.
2 books. I've only got the 1 book out.
There was this guy called Davey Hunter that put them together for me.
I've got
no idea
so far.
Work on it.
We'll come to that. We'll come to that in a minute. You're asking where Ailish's from. Ailish's from Kirriemuir, just north of Dundee.
Oh, right.
Yeah, she played with City of Brecon when I was playing with Maids of Infantry and that. But yeah, so you've what were we saying? We're saying. Yeah, so you've got that gig that's coming up, which will be that'll be your first band gig since the whole COVID thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, first proper gig. We've done a couple of the under canvas things up in Inverness, but like what you were saying, Peter, like this, and I've noticed as well. You were saying it as well, David. That there's a lot of Kayleys just now, loads of Kayleys, and I'm like so grateful they're back because it's like revenue again. But then it's like, and it's a gig feels still a wee bit far away.
Yeah.
Like a concert. So this is the first one, the Piping Live one. Is the first proper.
I think until we get, and even the Cayley thing, you know, this not being able to dance with people once.
It's a strange one.
Yeah.
You know,
well,
to me, Cayley meant, you know, it's difficult to do a gay Gordon's with no partner.
Yeah. Some folk are just dancing anyway at Cayley. I've seen it, and it's like, I'm glad to have it back.
You never know what's going to happen next week when this whole, if we get the changeover in Scotland, it might be that they say and this is allowed and that's allowed and all that sort of jazz. So we'll see what happens.
And next week, you never know, the day before that, aliens may invade, and that'll change the whole thing anyway. So that's fine. And we'll all go to Mars. We'll all go to Mars and play in a COVID-free concert hall.
That seems more realistic, or within reach of anything else.
I'd rather play in Mars than Uranus.
No, thanks, David. You had to lower that, didn't you? You had to lower it. Right.
On that note,
what about another? But he's not got anything to do with a track called Uranus. When you said on that note, that I don't know where you're going to tie this in at all.
Well, let me go. On that note, Ali, you've also another group called Glyn.
Yes.
And that's with Craig Irving. Yeah,
a former guitarist of Talisk and Manran as well.
So, what's the theory behind that sort of kind of setup for the two of you?
We've always kind of been playing together. We're conscious of creating sort of a different sound to Project Smok. We have our main music we both listen to is sort of synthetic pop music. And that's also what Craig does is his solo thing now. He's left and he's a pop singer. But I would normally listen to over anything as bands like 1975, Laney, and like Justin Bieber's new album.
And the Venga Boys.
Yeah, maybe I push.
That's Davey. Davey, Ali's taking this very seriously when he's a musician saying conscious of doing things. This is very top level stuff here. There's a lot of musicians that are not very conscious of nothing. And just get on it.
It was quite nice to have the change. So I thought
excellent. It's magic to hear somebody thinking that way.
Well, yeah.
Anyway. Right, well, we'll have a listen.
So yeah, we're going to hear a track called. What's it called?
Oh, this is the first single we released. Apple X is the track title, but the tune I wrote called after one of my best mates from Applecross, Kenny Gillis of Applecross. A wink to the other Kenny Gillis.
Brilliant. Applecross is the place that's trying to get out of the North Coast rally.
I know what it's a shambles like.
It's
a nice place.
Driving the folk nuts. Anyway, here we go. Yes. Really well produced. Very, very well produced, guys.
It's Ross Saunders who mixed and mastered it, the bass player in Man. So
Very, very nice.
to get him on gigs with Greg Barry as well, the drummer from Elephant Sessions.
Ah, yes.
As a fourth
Yeah.
piece,
So, the real reason you're actually here tonight, Ali, is to mention your 2 books that are coming out. There you go, Peter. 2 at once. There you go. Two for price of 2.
That's all right. You've got my third one sitting there as well, ready to go.
No.
Yeah, that's all right.
So you're releasing 2 books of your own tunes and stories, etc. So it's really weird. Asking, how did that come about, Ali?
Yeah. I don't know. It's just one of the boys asked me recently. He said, "Why are you doing 2 books?" And then I said, "Well, it's about 80 tunes." I was like, "Money?" But yeah, I don't know. I just I started a campaign last summer because when the gigs went, I was like, "Oh, what am I going to do?" And then I had like 20 tunes from when I started writing at all, and then I opened up this campaign saying, if anyone's wanting a tune written for them, then they can buy one, and they'll buy the naming rights and they can gift it, and I'll handwrite it and frame it and send it to them. So I did that, and I thought if I got 4 or 5 folk getting in touch, I'd be happy with that. And then I think 50 or 60 people got in touch, and I was like, oh, flipping heck. So it was great. Kept me busy for months. My hand was in bits from handwriting them all. I was like, oh. But then at the end of it, I thought, I suppose, the donkey work for doing tune books is already done. And then just throw some tune books together. And then I thought, and then it was only after starting doing tune books, I was like, this is a little bit harder than I thought it would be. But it's been good.
Yeah.
I can't wait to have them in hand. Yeah.
I must admit, that last track we played the other now, and that's one of your tunes, and I really like the strong melody in it. I sense you're a player that looks for the melody.
So I feel, sometimes, like if I can't sing it back, a lot of the time I'll be like, well, is it really?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Really worth it. Yeah.
Well, I'm a great believer in that a wee bit as well, because and sometimes somebody might say, "Oh, that's quite a simple tune you wrote," but there's no such thing as a simple tune. We all know that, but
no. But the 3/4s I find are really hard to write.
Really?
Yeah.
And Lochin Song is actually the first tune I learned on the whistle, but they're timeless tunes. Like the 3 marches, like reels can kind of come and go with fashion, but I don't know if you kind of stand the test of time.
I also think with somebody once told me, I think somebody said about what you're saying, if you can't sing it back or whistle back the tune, we have to remember that the majority of the audience that's wanting to buy all this stuff, and especially recorded music, not so much as the books, but they're the people that matter. And if they can remember your tune and walk out the bar humming that in their head or something like that, you're on a winner, aren't you?
Yeah,
totally.
Exactly. So the book is available to buy or pre-order, kind of sort of pay extra copy money from the website.
I've actually just, the pre-orders are closed, but I'm hoping to just there's sort of like a trend just now where the pre-orders are closed, but hoping to have it out imminently. I'm still not comfortable. Davie's been great in helping me sort of. It wouldn't be till next year that I'd have it out if Davie wasn't on board with this. So,
well, I totally admire you, because it was the same for me with Davie. It was a total chance thing. I saw you'd put a post on to somebody else saying, "Why have you not got a book out?" And I thought, here's a guy.
It was Lana.
Was it Lana Elaine? Yeah.
Lana,
And I thought, I wonder who this chap is. So I got in touch, and it developed, and we had books out. And I mean, I've been writing kind of all my life, but never got around to it. So I admire you getting it out when you're young, actually, because it's good to get the stuff out and get it on the move. Because I had collected up this 200 or 300 tunes kind of style thing, and getting to the age of 50 before I'd released one book, So I'd had some stuff published before, but well done on you. It's good. Tell us what kind of materials in your books. Davie knows.
Half
paper.
I'm gonna. I might let you hear one of the tunes from the book first. I'm just going to grab a laptop charger if that's okay.
Yep.
Oh yeah, go for you.
10%.
What we'll do is we'll put this next video on, which is from your debut video album track.
Yeah.
And while you're doing that.
But the worst thing would be if the charge went here, I'd be like, oh.
Yeah. So we'll play that. We'll come back to you and talk about it.
No worries.
Yeah, you got that. I'll take you off.
Oops. And he's back.
Yes. All charged there, yeah, all charged.
So what was that tune called, Ali?
That tune's just called Debut. That was the first thing I've ever released under my own name, and it was just after the first lockdown. I'd never released anything before lockdown or COVID, and in a way, it's been the best thing that ever happened to me for kind of giving me a kick up the backside and getting stuff done. Because I was just living gig to gig before, and then I made that. I did the video for that myself as well. Just started collecting footage.
Really good.
Yeah, just before we go any further with that, that is not that's archive footage. That's not kind of recent stuff. Just for those that don't know Scotland, it's old stuff. That's not how the Highlands look.
No.
Yeah, I mean, we've got some viewers from all over the world, and that's not how Scotland looks usually.
No,
Not anymore, anyway.
Not how we dress. Well, some of us anyway. Yeah.
Some places up here look like that sometimes.
But yeah, no.
I think old footage like that it's wonderful to see. It's just such the archive stuff that can come out, and there's more and more seems to be coming. People seem to be finding it, and we seem to be getting it digitized and managing to present it to the public again. That is fantastic to see that, and I think the Scottish music. I think that's one that's great thing, isn't it? That you see the tie between our Scottish music and the surroundings that people lived in and where they were, etc. It's just brilliant. It's great.
Totally.
So you're going to give us a tune on the whistle, a new one.
Yes, it could do. Yeah. So there were different methods I was using because I had to write so many tunes last year. There's so many different methods you can just write a tune dry. So just sort of improvise until you find something.
Yeah.
And also the drone method as well. Where you just play a cello drone and a speaker for about 7 minutes in one key, and try and find something. And a method I used for most of the tunes I wrote was just playing pop music through a speaker and trying to figure the key, and then I'd be listening to it with headphones on and just press record on my phone, and the phone would catch whatever I'd been writing. So I'll give you an example of how that would work. So like one of the bands I mentioned earlier on, who I listened to a lot, it's like 1975, just a generic pop band, and then we used this track. So that was kind of you just put a message out with them, and then sometimes something would come through the other end. And then I remember I wrote a tune for James Bremner, who used to play in Dive, and I wrote it to the same band, and it was a very kind of generic pop. And the tune that came out, I'll let you hear a wee bit of it. So that was, and then he said, "Oh, it's a really kind of traditional sounding tune you've written," and I was like,
The good thing is you've got the chord structure written already.
Exactly, yeah. It makes writing so much easier. Like,
well, what about that, folks? You're getting all these bonus live tracks tonight, you know?
I know. We didn't pay for this.
No.
Giving away my methods here. I'm like, oh.
I know.
Ali, remember, send the invoice to Davie.
Oh, yeah.
Good. I can't believe it, guys. Listen, we've got through an hour here already. I can't believe this. It's been absolutely magic having you on as a guest, Ali. It's been really What's the best place for people to? Is it probably your website to follow where to get the books from, etc.?
Yes, that's I think the only place online I'm going to make it for, unless like any sort of places like the Piping. I think the Piping Centre are going to sell some, and whoever else. But yeah, that'll probably be one of the main places to get them. I'll be pushing it on.
Ladies and gentlemen. As we always say, don't worry, these shows are fully recorded. You'll see it back on YouTube. You'll see it back on Facebook. So you'll be able to look up Ali's website and follow the production. And do you have CDs and things for sale on there as well now, Ali?
Yeah, I put an EP of my own out last year, just all my own tunes. So as soon as the books are ready to go, they'll be up on the website as well. So I've still a couple of photos to get to Davie, but we're nearly there.
Okay. Brilliant. Well,
The end is in sight.
Yeah.
we can only wish you all the best with it. I'm absolutely delighted with the work we've done in my books anyway, and they came great. So.
Eventually.
Eventually, yeah, there was one lot got soaked in the boat, didn't they, in the container on the way up? So we had to start again with that lot, but never mind. That wasn't any of our faults.
Yeah. But no, it's been fantastic, Alice, having you on. But when you do have your book out, send us a link and we'll share it and get it out there as well for you.
Yeah.
No, thanks.
No, it's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure.
Brilliant,
Cheers.
absolutely. Listen, you go and enjoy that wedding tomorrow and behave yourself.
I'll try.
Ali, thanks very much.
Cheers.
All the best, man. All the best.
Thanks. Cheers.
There he goes. There you go. You take it off. There you go. Aye.
There we are. Wow.
He's a good lad.
Fantastic. Great musician.
Just want to roll back to a comment earlier on from Sheila Piper. What Sheila doesn't realise is that when she had her birthday party at the house and the Mains Affinity Pipe Band turned up, I was there.
See that?
As well as being at the, I think it was Hogmanay gig at the Wellbank one year.
There you go, Sheila. See that, Sheila? He sneaks about, he does.
Yeah. I was a lot shorter then because I'd been younger. 13, 14. But yeah, no, it's fantastic. No, Ali's just messaged me there saying love being on, so that's great.
Everybody's really loved that video, so videos as well.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with them. That's it. When you're using stuff like that and it ties in with the music, it just works really well.
Yeah. And as we said the other night, and I have seen photographic evidence of this now. Congratulations to Mr. and Mrs. McNaughton.
Yes. That was yesterday.
They got married. And he sent me a wee video last night looking chuffed to bits and told me he'd come out of the kit to one of my tunes or something. So that was really nice. Nice to hear. So.
Here's one for you. So our next guest, if you were to want to travel from North Uist to where this next guest is from, it would take you 13 hours and 25 minutes.
Really?
Yep. You'd have to go via Benbecula and all that, but yeah, 13 hours, 25 minutes, southwest.
Where did you exactly find this out?
Google Maps.
Google Maps.
I was actually looking for the mileage, but you wouldn't give me it because you can't travel over water.
But surely it depends what you're travelling on.
Oh, it's by plane. Come on.
What?
You can't drive across water.
I'm going a boat.
Yeah.
Anyway, listen, I'm really looking forward to bringing our next guest on. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got fantastic numbers tonight. It just shows you that we love seeing these guys. And the real nice thing about it is seeing the musicians and getting to hear them chat and see them as real live people rather than just on stage all the time and hear about their music and where they came from, etc. But our next guest, I'm really looking forward to knowing this man for quite a number of years now. And he is kind of resident in New York just now. So he's coming on for the other side of the pond, as Davie says. And it's Mr. Alasdair White. So can we get Alasdair on? There we go. Hello, man.
Hello.
How are you doing? Yes, we can hear you.
Hey.
How are you getting on?
Good. Yeah. I'm pleased to know all my travel options now after you go.
I wouldn't bother. You're probably safer there at the moment.
We thought Davie just worked with printing books and things like that, but now he's obviously going into the tourism industry or something like that.
Branching out. I mean, there's no harm in having a few strings to your bow.
No, absolutely not. Alistair, how are you getting on, good sir? Are you doing well?
Yeah, doing grand, thanks. Yeah, things are, slowly opening back up, and there's a few of the regular gigs around town coming back, and the calendar's starting to fill up a bit too.
Good. The Big Apple's looking a bit rosier then.
It certainly is. Yeah. It's starting to, not I wouldn't say back to normal, but people are kind of emerging, blinking.
So when you're saying a few gigs about the city, etc. down then, obviously an awful lot of your viewers and a lot of people know you for playing with the Battlefield band. And I mean, you've played with the Batties. Now, I couldn't believe it the other day when I was looking at 20 years.
Yeah, I joined when I was, I joined in 2001 when I was 18.
Can't believe that.
Yeah,
amazing.
Nor could I. It's been a while now. I mean, we haven't had anything on the books for a wee while, but there's we're all still in touch and everyone's doing well. In actual fact, I'm going to have a couple of gigs with Mike Katz in a couple of weeks. He's coming over here for the first kind of in-person event that either of us have done for for at least 18 months. But there's a piping festival in Connecticut, which is just up the road from me, which Mike has taught at before. So we're gonna.
I think Mike used to play with Scottish Gas Pipe Band. When
he
we
certainly
were
did.
over.
Yeah, that's right. He used to play with the Gas.
And I done a couple of seasons with them as well. So that's how I got to know. That's how I got to know Mike
Campbell and Ian Kinnear and all that.
Quiet bunch of boys. Very quiet bunch of boys. Very.
Yes,
very...
I've heard several stories of
yes. No, they did. Yes, you never quite knew what was going to happen next. Anyway, that was, and that included competition days. But never mind, it was good fun. Good fun. So one of the things I knew you from originally way back as well, Alasdair, was your uncle. Your uncle was Charlie Kilpatrick.
Of course, yeah, that's right. Charlie goes up your way quite regularly for the Fiddle and Accordion Festival, and I'm sure he's been itching to get back the last wee while. But actually, my folks just met up with him and saw him. My mum's, Charlie's from Iona, as is my mother. Them being related, it's a funny thing that. So.
Yeah.
I'm going to take you through the finer points of genealogy here. They actually all managed to get to Iona, which is brilliant because my uncle Davie still lives there, and my auntie Carol, and so they all managed to kind of converge on Iona for a couple of weeks. So Charlie was there, and all my mum's family.
So obviously you've been brought up on the west coast. Were you Stornoway? Is that where you were?
Yeah, just outside of Stornoway, about 5 miles north. Yeah.
Right. So obviously you've been immersed in music your whole life, basically.
Yeah.
Tried stuff about, and I think we'll talk about that in a wee while. But I think we're going to have a wee tune for you first, and show the folks out here how to play the fiddle. You should hear me playing the fiddle, Davie, by the way. I can do the rowan tree in the fiddle. Oh my God, it's bad.
If that's the case, I can do the rowan tree on the box.
Yeah.
It's not a very forgiving instrument anyway, so you're
telling me. Gee whiz. I can have a wee shot about most things, but the fiddle and strings, oh no, I'm lost. Completely lost. What are we having here? What set are we having?
I'm having a set of jigs.
A set of jigs.
I picked 3 of my favourites. First one is Pipe Major Jimmy McGregor that I've been playing for years. I recorded it years ago, and I've just kept playing it no matter what. And the tune after that's a very old tune, and it's the translation of the title. It sounds fairly strange. It's not in a bag or a sack, which I can only assume it comes from a song. It's Cachurmi Pok no Balak, and it appears in, I think it's the McInnes collection. I got it out of. Not a lot of people have recorded it. Def Shepherd recorded it years ago, but it's an amazing tune, really. The last tune is a favourite of yours and mine. Please sing along at home. Kenny Gillis of Portnalong.
Not Kenny Gillis of Applecross. No.
Not.
Who was it wrote the words? Who wrote the words to that one again?
I think everyone's had a stab at writing words to that one at some point or another. My videos are slightly less elaborate than Ali's ones, but
mine too. Don't worry.
I've tried to move several centimeters either way just to create some.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. But that's all you need to do. That's all you need to do.
Yeah, less.
And if your fingers move, it's great.
Yeah, and my fingers just about move as well. It's
Yeah.
I'm
Brilliant.
pretty pleased with.
Here we go. Here's Alasdair with a set of jigs. Fantastic. Absolutely brilliant, Alasdair.
Cheers.
Great tunes, great tunes. I was laughing when you said there that tune, you started playing it and you've always kept playing it. I've got a couple of tunes in my repertoire as well that I play that people have asked me many times to stop playing. And I don't quite understand what they're meaning. But, I'm not sure what they mean by that.
Did you not write them yourself, though, Peter?
I wrote them myself. Yeah. Here's Luna. Luna's come to say hello. It's woke up. So it's come to say evening everyone.
Puppy.
Yeah, it's a real dog, honestly. Right, go away. Right.
Go away.
No, that was absolutely brilliant. Great stuff. How did it all start for you, Alasdair, in the Western Isles? Did you, with school, your grounding for playing music? Or?
Not really. I started off. My mother's a PE teacher, she used to be. Used to teach around the kind of rural schools, and there was another fella teaching music around the rural schools who played the violin, and my uncle John plays the fiddle, and there was kind of music around the family, but I was fascinated with the fiddle. My uncle John used to play with a band called the Clydesiders. If any of you
I remember the Clydesiders.
Yeah, indeed, aye. So I was anyway. John played the fiddle. I was fascinated with that. This fella Ian was teaching around the island on Lewis, and he was a classical player, but he was a great teacher, and he kind of got me kind of started and pointed in the right direction or what have you. He left the island after I was about 3 or 4 years into playing, and then after that I kind of put what I could from where I could kind of try to put it all together. The Box and Fiddle Club in Stornoway was great for that, and there were a whole bunch of people that kind of helped out and continued to try to point me in the right direction. Ian Crichton, Donny Lowdy, folk like that.
Of course. I remember Ian. Ian was a fantastic composer, wasn't he?
He was indeed. Yeah. I keep going back to his books. In fact, I've got one just at the side of my desk there. So yeah, that was great. I used to go out there every other Saturday, and he'd have a stack of tunes for me to play through.
And gosh, the Clydesiders were a big group in their day. They used to do all telly work and all sorts of things. And
yeah, they were pretty.
When they used to let us onto the television easily.
I know. Imagine. They were pretty busy and fairly well known, and and they were great. I remember going to see the Clydesiders and the McCalmans as well are two of my. And Ali and Phil as well. They were my formative musical experiences, because they're actually, when I was before the Heb Celt started, which was a big festival in Stornoway. Before that, there wasn't a whole lot of kind of live music from outside the islands coming into play and things like that. Pardon me, just the sounds.
I remember the first time I was up in Lewis and Harris was with Bill Black, the dance band, many years ago, and we stayed at Borv with Captain Morrison.
Yes, indeed, Captain Alec, it would have been. Yeah.
And that was my first experience of a breakfast there, when he lined up all the glasses. We were all feeling quite peckish from a night before. He lined up all the glasses and said, "Whiskey or brandy, boys?" And we went, "Oh, for goodness sake." And somebody said, "Any chance of a tin of lager?" And he went, "No, whiskey or brandy." That was it.
Depends on the whiskey, I suppose.
It was quite an entertaining few days.
Oh, it was indeed. Yes, well, he's yeah. Certainly, that's good Hebridean hospitality for you.
Yes, and the Legion, the Royal British Legion in Stornoway as well, must have about the highest stage I'd ever seen in my life.
That's right. Yeah. Stage. Gosh, that's no more, unfortunately. The Legion.
Oh, is it not?
As far as I know, it's shut down. Yeah.
You would never have wanted to fall off that stage in a mass panic when you were grooving on the stage.
I'm sure there are quite a few that did.
Yeah, I'm sure there was. So once you got playing with groups, did you play with groups, etc., and back home first, and then develop things? Or?
Yeah, obviously Kaylee's around the island and things like that, and then myself and a few others got a band called Face the West on the go, which it's still around. They've had a few members through the ranks, and we're all kind of still in touch, more or less. And that was great. That was a great kind of experience, and we made a record. And so after that, I was kind of getting ready to go off to university, and then I think we actually sent a demo of that Face the West thing to Robin Morton at Temple Records, who also managed Battlefield Band. And John McCusker was leaving the band at the time, so they needed another fiddle player. So I was
I'm actually starting to feel really old now, because I remember John McCusker's first gig with the band when Brian McNeil finished.
There you go.
It was in Edinburgh, and I remember the old lineup was on at the time. Brian McNeil and Doogie Pincock was in the band at that time as well, and then I remember them bringing on John McCusker and saying, "By the way, this is going to be our new fiddle player at the gig." So I'm starting to feel quite old that I can remember that right back now.
But and then awful quickly. That's the only.
So it was still Robin that was kind of totally in charge of the Battlefield Band then.
He was the manager at the time, and he was kind of like another member of the band, like kind of a fifth member of the band. It was pretty stable lineup.
It must have been great fun. It must have been great fun going in because it was a kind of institution that was built up, and so the gigs were there. It wasn't like you were starting from scratch.
It was great, but it was also it was quite a steep learning curve because all of a sudden you're having to kind of having to shape up and do gigs alongside people you've been looking up to for years and years, and playing festivals with bands you'd been listening to for years, and there was no sticking out like a sore thumb really, so I had to kind of figure out how to make sure that I at least looked as if I belonged in the same stage.
And do you just play a couple of instruments in the band as well, though, don't you? You guys are all kind of...
I've kind of done various things kind of as and when needed, really. Fiddle's definitely the main one, but I've kind of flirted with various instruments over the years. I used to play the pipes a lot, but I haven't really for the last ages really. And bit of the fiddle. I'm a very enthusiastic but not particularly competent banjo player. I have owned
what you're saying is you're a banjo player then.
Yes, exactly.
This taking the pressure off being an accordionist for a minute or two here. This is fantastic.
I was getting to the accordion actually, but no. Actually, of all this, I've never. I could never quite actually make head nor tail of the piano for some reason. I've never been. For some reason, like I can't get used to being able to. Get a specific note by using any one of your fingers, like the notes here. You can use any one of your fingers. That just seems to make my brain go a bit funny. But I enjoy kind of having a stab at other instruments, and I think it's important as well if you're playing with other instruments to have an awareness of what their strengths are and what they're kind of capable of, and things like that, and you can take that into fiddle playing as well, and I think being flexible is one of the things that I really strive for, to be flexible enough.
When you're not playing with obviously the Battlefield bands organised a big tour or something like that, and then you do that. So what other kind of things are you doing then? I know it's been changed in the last couple of years, but normally, normally you'd be playing gigs round about New York area, or do you travel further? Or
actually the Batties, we haven't done a gig with the Batties since I think 2016, so we've not had anything on the books for a while. So since then, I played in. Well, I did a bit of a stint in Florida there at one of the Disney parks there, so that was the nearest I've come to a day job in a while. That was good though. It's good fun. And but I've been playing with.
I'd love to be rubbing shoulders with Pluto and Mickey Mouse. That'd be great. I think I'd fit in.
You really saw the real Pluto and the real Goofy.
I think I'd possibly get the map down for the Baloo job. I think Baloo would be my job.
I was thinking more of Baymax, to be fair.
Who's that? Oh,
Big Hero 6.
All right.
Well, that's too far. Because it's interesting you said your mother was a PE teacher as well, and then there was a music teacher. I think that was my. Oh dear, I hated PE at school. Music was good. I could cope with PE. I could cope with music, but PE. My
mum was always very, very focused on being inclusive and getting everyone, no matter your kind of ability or enthusiasm. I
think I would have been a good goal post or something like that. That would have been the inclusion. She would have found a way, I'm sure, but
which is vital to the game. Goals.
It holds up the crossbar and all that.
Absolutely.
But that's really it. So,
to get back to
so you were down. So you worked for Disney for a wee while.
So I was down there for a bit, and then actually the last wee while I've been playing with Dive.
Oh yeah,
It's a great West Coast institution, and I've
Absolutely.
known the boys there for ages. So anytime they come over here, I do the gigs with them, and Gabe McVarish does all the Scottish gigs. So we've been on a wee job share the last wee while. But actually, we've been putting stuff up on YouTube, just to give that a wee plug. If you haven't already, go and subscribe to Dive Music on YouTube, and we've been putting up little tutorials and things like that.
I can see Davie's going for it already. I can see Davie looking at the computer to get you a link coming up here, folks.
Very good.
Just talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah, that's it. So can you actually tell me, what were you doing in Disney? That's what I was wanting to know. What did you actually do there?
Well, we were playing music. It was myself, my wife.
Yeah, I hope so.
First and foremost, playing music. Myself, my wife, and two friends of ours. We were kind of. There's various. So it was in the Epcot Centre, and anyone who's been there will know that you kind of walk around the world. Basically, there's about a mile or 2 miles, a circular kind of track, and you can go to France, or you can go to go to Mexico, or like you go around different little kind of things. And there was a infinitesimal Scottish enclave there, which we occupied. It was just big enough for us, actually, and we were out playing there for anyone who wanted to listen, really, which was very interesting because it was people didn't necessarily kind of buy tickets to a gig. They were just kind of they were just there, and if they wanted to stop, they would listen. So it was very interesting to see what people responded to. People with no stake in anything, and just see what people responded to and what folk liked.
I think, did we have someone on from Dive? Have we had someone on the show in the last year and a half from Dive?
Not since I've been here.
I think we possibly did when Ross McNaughton was with us.
Well, Ross isn't here to ask him.
No, because I remember thinking Dive was spelled D-I-V-E, and it's not.
D-A-I-M-H.
It's just when you put that all up there that it reminded me of something.
There we are.
Anyway, right, never mind. Alasdair, let's have another set of tunes. What have we got here?
We've got a set of reels.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we're doing reels.
So these are 3 reels from my 3 of my favourite Scottish fiddle players. The first one is a tune by Ian Hardy, sadly no longer with us, but great fiddle player with Jock Tamson's Bairns and the Occasionals and a few other. He's from Nairn.
Yeah, he's great.
Wrote lovely tunes as well. I think he put together the 90s collection, which is a great collection of music of tunes written in the 90s.
Was it The Spider's Web? That was one of Ian's books as
That's right, yes, that's correct as well. I think I've got that
nice.
in my folks' house somewhere. And the second, so that's called the Knock and Do reel, I believe. And the second tune's by Simon Bradley. Originally of Rochdale, now long-time resident of Edinburgh, now resident in Benbecula, not too far from where Ali is at the moment.
I mentioned earlier I'd done the UHI course with the applied music, and Simon was one of my tutors.
Yeah, that would be great. I mean,
great fun.
So
it went from having tunes in Sandy Bells and things like that 30 years ago in Edinburgh to him telling me what to do again. telling me my S's were rotten, and I mean, what did he really expect? He knew me. He saw what we went through 30 years ago in Sandy Bells. So it's good.
That's a funny old world, eh?
So he's written some great tunes.
So that's Peninsula Man. I think I've got the right version. He recorded it years ago on a record with Luke Plum, a great mandolin player and bouzouki player from Tasmania. So I don't know if you can get it anymore. It's called Wintering Out. It's a great album. Anyway, that's where I got it from. It's Peninsula Man. And then the last tune's by John Martin, the illustrious. That's been played out very widely the last wee while. A tune called The Millhouse, and another tune I've kept on playing despite.
Sounds good to us. Let's go for them. Get your feet tapping, folks. Yeah. So you get a wee round of applause in this show as well. Remember,
That's very nice. That's very nice. Very gratifying. Thanks,
It's to remind you. It's just to remind you what it used to be like when there was an audience out there. You know.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. That's it.
We try our hardest. Right, brilliant. So, albums, etc., things like that. Can people buy your albums on your website?
No, I don't think so. Actually,
No.
it's mostly on Bandcamp these days.
Okay,
Because
okay.
Bandcamp, you generally a bit more of your money goes to the artists.
Yeah, it does. It's good. I've got my albums on there now too, and it's good. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think more and more people are just are choosing to go that route. So
Yeah.
so I've got an album out actually with Mike Katz from Battlefield Band. So we've got it's just fiddle and pipes. So just straight down the line. It's called Best Sets. And,
Yeah, I remember that.
recorded it 2000, I think 2019 or 2018. I can't remember.
Yeah, I remember you bringing that. That must have been an interesting one to put together. Actually, best sets, because you'd
was,
obviously sat down and thought, what we're going to do here.
Yeah, it was funny because I mean we've spent at least 16 years kind of sitting around looking for tunes for the Batties, and in that time there were tunes that maybe didn't suit the band, or wasn't quite what we were looking for at the time, but that you've always anybody that's played in a band for any length of time, you know that you've always got tunes that are kind of on the back burner that you've never used, but they're kind of there. So we ended up recording quite a few of those, and then just kind of trawling through some books, mainly kind of older collections and things. And actually, we got quite a lot of tunes from John McClellan's books, talking about Lochenside earlier on. So the Cowl collection, or the Cowl collections rather, were books that he compiled and put out. And John McClellan was a very interesting fellow and a bit of a hero. He wrote loads and loads of great tunes, not just Lochenside, but some. In fact, most of the other good retreat marches, most of the other good 3-4 marches he wrote as well, like My Hometown and tunes like that. I say most. There aren't very many out there, but he put his own compositions in these books in this Cowl collection, but he wouldn't list his own name next to them. He was modest to a fault, and he was renowned for just being a very, very nice chap. In fact, he wrote words to a lot of his tunes, not all of his tunes, but he wrote words to a lot of his tunes. So there's every possibility that he wrote words to Lochenside as well.
He did. I'm involved with the Argyle's pipe collection.
Ah, right, yeah.
And they have been gifted the manuscripts and book of words and all that sort of stuff.
Oh, wow.
And there is scope in the future to publish them.
Oh, that's brilliant.
As the poems that were originally written as they were, sort of thing. And there's a kind of scope of that in the next few years or so. Yeah.
I'll be looking out for that.
So it's really interesting. Really interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, we ended up getting a load of tunes from there for that album. It was a fun one to do. We did half of it in California near Oxnard. We found a studio there. That was good fun. Basically hung out at the beach and recorded pipes and fiddle for about a week. And then we.
What a drag!
I know. And then
you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't do that in Shetland this summer anyway. I can assure you. There would be no hanging out on beaches, especially.
You could try. If you had a wetsuit, you could maybe.
Yeah, well, I do that. We go in the sea quite a bit, but still a bit kind of.
To be fair, there's a couple of beaches on Lewis and Harris that are no bad.
That's true. No, well, a wee dip in kind of Luscantire might not be too bad, but you just don't know. It can be dicey, but and then the second half we recorded in Biggar.
Really?
So, yeah, or near Biggar.
Angus's place.
Yeah, Lamington.
Francis. Yeah.
Angus Lyon.
Grances.
You know, we've had Angus in the show. You know, when Angus was at school, I was brought up about 5 miles from Angus's house,
There you are.
and I went to school in Biggar actually when you said that. But Angus was desperate to go and see Braveheart, but his parents were farmers and too busy to take him. So I took him to see Braveheart.
Ah, great.
So I remember doing that when I was young.
Aye.
And then when I had him on, I didn't realise I'd actually done this, but apparently I showed him how to play chords on the accordion, so he was delighted. But I must congratulate him. He's taken it just a bit further than I have, to be honest.
He's certainly taken it very far. He's an excellent
He's done all right.
musician.
He's a lovely guy, though.
Oh,
Really nice
absolutely,
guy.
yeah. Actually, when we were there, it was mostly Chris that was there. That was
Chris Waite, yeah.
Chris Waite that was kind of engineering things, and he actually mixed the whole thing for us as well and mastered it.
Yeah, Grand's House Studios.
Yeah, and that was great. We had a lovely time there.
There's
So
no
we've
beach
been-
there. There's no beach there.
No beach
the river,
there.
the River Clyde right in front of you, and that's about it.
That's about it. There's a nice big field, so we kind of ran about that, screaming a few times.
There's plenty sheep to chase about.
I wouldn't know anything about that at all.
No.
We were meant to do a few gigs to kind of sell a few of those, but of course that never happened. So happily, in a couple of weeks, we'll have 2 gigs to do that with. But it's great. I mean, honestly, anything at this stage is great.
And you'll have all these CDs just waiting and willing to go out to new owners.
Oh, absolutely! Yeah, we've got a big trailer of them we're taking up with us.
Magic. Any other future plans coming up in the pipeline before long? Or?
I actually recorded a wee kind of. I wouldn't even call it an EP. I think it's just 5 tracks.
That's an EP.
Okay, that's an EP. A studio I've been. Well, actually, I went and recorded a movie soundtrack the other month.
Oh my goodness!
It's I don't know when it's coming out. I don't even know if I can tell you what it is, but it's
Go on.
It's I don't know. I've been told not to say it, but
no, you better not. I don't want to.
It's a relatively it's a great movie, and it's set on Lewis around the turn of the century.
Okay.
But so that was a great experience learning all the music for that. But
and was that like working with an orchestra or folk bands or?
No, well, I went in and recorded kind of there's a fella, Carlos Alvarez, who's a great composer and does music for lots of stuff, and I'd been working kind of with him just to make sure it all kind of sounded as if it was it sounded like music that was to be the backdrop to a kind of movie set in the Hebrides, so I've been kind of working with him through that, and you obviously get all there's kind of MIDI string parts and stuff like that, which kind of approximate what would be going on. And I went and recorded all the kind of fiddle stuff for it, and then they got an orchestra to record all the stuff on top of that. I'm quite looking forward to seeing how that turns out.
Yeah, that would be great.
But anyway, it's a great studio that I recorded in, and the quickest engineer I've ever seen or heard. And I thought, well, this would be great. I've got a wee bit of time in my hands. I'll just go in just myself and record 5 things, and I'll just stick them up. So they're just getting mastered just now.
Magic.
Just a wee thing. It's all just keeping the pot in the boil, and
yeah, brilliant. Well, when it does come out, Alasdair, if you keep us in touch, and we'll plug it on the show for you as well.
Will do. Yeah, I'll be making a noise about it on Facebook, I dare say, and Instagram and all that. So.
Because we do a Sunday night, but we also do a wee thing on Wednesday nights called What's New Wednesday, where we bring on folk that's bringing out new bits and pieces and just specialise on that for 10 minutes or so, or 15 minutes.
Oh, smashing,
And
yeah, that'd
you'd be most welcome to come back on and do that.
it'd be lovely to
Just let us
come
know.
back and have another wee chat with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And anything that's coming out, just keep us up to date. It's great. This is the whole point we set this up, was just to try and give everybody another wee platform to push some stuff out and open up some new audience. That was really just.
And it's great. You've got so many folk tuning in from all over the.
Yeah, it's amazing who tunes in.
Brilliant.
Sometimes it's quite amazing. Quite amazing. Let's have a wee set of tunes before you go tonight. And we couldn't have a West Coaster on without a set of pipe tunes, could we? Some 2/4s.
Indeed not. Yeah, we've got two 2/4s. I just kind of decided on the spur of the moment just to do these couple. The Nights with Kaylee by Donald MacLeod.
Great tune.
Great composer as well. And then the Conundrum, which is another favourite. You can all sing along at home. Again, no words, but I believe in you all.
Donald MacLeod. Was it Donald MacLeod that wrote the Conundrum?
I think it might be, yes. I'm actually not 100% on that, but I believe it was. So two Donald MacLeod.
I think it was. Just absolutely fantastic tune, though. Brilliant, brilliant tunes. Here we go. Nights with Kaylee. Brilliant. Yeah, really nice. Lovely tempo.
It was
Lovely tempo.
Peter McLeod that wrote the conundrum.
Ah,
Peter
right.
McLeod.
Peter R.
sorry.
McLeod.
That's the thing.
Did I
Yeah.
say-
Yeah.
did I say
Yes,
Donald McLeod?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I've been.
Yeah.
I sometimes do get a wee bit kind of, which is terrible being from Lewis, but there's actually there's quite a lot of there are quite a few notable pipers and pipe composers from Lewis, and quite a lot of tunes
Yeah.
between all of them. So
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very much so. Very much so.
You know the Knightswood Cayley one. The bit that gets me in that tune that really just catches my ear always is the third measure,
yeah,
where it transposes into just that major bit. You know, the tune is really lying in a minor, and then all of a sudden it's and it's quite effective. It's really
yeah,
good.
it's very Gaelic, very kind of like
Absolutely, yeah,
you
just
know.
does it.
Also got
Alasdair-
a different ending to the rest of the rest
Yeah.
of the tune, which is
Yeah, great. Listen, Alasdair, thank you so much for coming on
Not at all.
tonight.
Thanks very much.
Well,
Thanks very
I
much
say
for having me,
tonight.
guys.
What time is it with you in New
It's,
York? Isn't it?
it's 4:45.
4:45. Okay, so you've got 5 hours.
So,
Right.
I'm
So it's
just,
nearly tea time then.
nearly tea time. Yeah, I don't know. We've not got a lot in the house, so I might go out and see if I can.
So whereabouts in New York are you, Alistair?
We're up in the Bronx, which
Bronx.
that's the kind of northernmost borough
Yeah.
of New York. So
Yeah.
we're kind of sandwiched between an Albanian neighbourhood and an Italian neighbourhood, and then there's an Irish
Oh,
neighbourhood
man.
just above us. So there's a lot of there's folk of all kinds all about. It's great.
And then there's you.
And then there's
I
me.
bet the food choice will be amazing.
It is pretty good, I must say. You're kind
Yeah.
of spoilt for choice around here, which my figure can attest to. It's a great spot to live, to be honest. And as you say, there's all these different kinds of folk wandering about, and then there's me, and nobody knows what to make of me. I've been playing all this music throughout lockdown, and goodness only knows what all my neighbours think. I don't know.
What's happened to that poor chap?
Yeah, I've either converted them or turned them away from any kind of traditional music for.
I think you've probably converted them because it's an expert player.
Brilliant.
Absolutely brilliant. Listen, Alistair, thanks very much for coming on. You stay safe out there, and hopefully we'll see you in the flesh someday very soon again. Hopefully
Fingers
we'll get
crossed.
by with this.
Fingers,
And we'll
legs,
get there again.
eyes crossed, everything.
I'm
Thanks.
sure we're about to come up with some, because now that Davie's in charge of getting people across the Atlantic, and the quickest way possible, we'll be all right.
Quickest way possible is teleporting them, but we've not invented that yet.
No, we've not got that yet, but
But give it a couple of years. I'm sure.
couple of years. Well, I tell you what, you wouldn't have thought we'd have been doing this 20 years ago, would you? So,
No.
Enough. Yeah.
Listen, thanks very much again, Alistair. You're
No,
looking
no,
great.
thanks.
Take care of yourself. Keep
Thanks for having
playing,
me
and
on.
we'll see you soon. Thanks, Alistair.
Great
Cheers,
stuff.
man.
Thanks,
See ya.
guys. Cheery. Bye.
And he's
Ah,
gone.
brilliant. Fair enjoyed tonight. Fair enjoyed. Couple of great guests.
It's been a great night. It's been a great night. And,
Yeah, very, very good players. Very, very good exponents of Scottish music and ambassadors for Scotland, I would say. Yeah, you can't go wrong with guys like that going about playing.
no, exactly. I mean, you think
love-
that when you think
I
that he
love the
started off in such a
professionalism.
sorry.
I love the professionalism of both of them. The way they look, but they're looking at the music industry and going, "Let's make the best we can do with this." You know, they're not just scraping out there saying, "Let's just do whatever we want."
Yeah, I know what you mean. Next show Sunday.
Next show Sunday, yeah, we have another show. I'll post
Oh.
through the week.
Oh! I just remembered who's on Sunday. Sorry,
Well,
I just remembered who's on Sunday.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
should be a good show.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It finishes our deck. Let's say
What?
it'll finish our deck. You know, you've got a set of cards. So you get all the same cards from the same suit. This will finish our deck on a certain.
All right.
Is that this week?
I'm missing that. I'm missing this one.
Give me 2 seconds. I'll just go check my calendar. I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is who I think it is. And if it is who I think it is, then we're getting the last card in the the band.
Oh yes,
deck.
we are. No, I've got
Yes.
you now. I've got you.
Yeah, good. I thought that.
Yes, you're absolutely right. There was a component missing for many that we haven't had yet, and we're about to we're about to complete the model.
It was that part that you had to send away for, like, with the back of the magazine.
Yeah, the wee bit that was missing, and
The one that makes it all tick.
but we have got it. We've got it.
We have.
Well, we're going to have a brilliant show next week as well. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. It was brilliant, folks. And hopefully we'll see you next Sunday because we've got some great great guests again. Right, David, you take care in Dundee.
And you, Peter, up in the Shetland.
Yes, the Shetland. And
The Shetland.
No, I'm away to feed the chinchilla and let the dog out.
As long as you do it the right way around and don't feed the chinchilla.
Feed the dog to the chinchilla.
Feed the chinchilla to the duck.
Yeah, well, you never know. I think the chinchilla's bigger than the dog. Yeah, you never know.
Bobbing along.
Thanks for folks. Good night. See you later. See you, David.
Cheery bye. Bye bye.
Cheery.